Welcome back. So we've been able to provide the ECR. So the next thing for us now is we're going to creating our Jenkins server, the CI/CD pipeline. So Jenkins is going to help us to do so many things today. So we need to make sure we install all the right applications in the Jenkins server. So I have a script which I'll be using together with the Terraform. And yeah, let's go into it. So I start with my VS Code. So we've been able to provision the ECR. The next one is the Jenkins server. So we start with the backend. The backend, we want to make sure we have deploying the whole thing in the right region, which I said before is going to be US East 1. Pardon me for that. And the name of the S3 bucket, just like the first one, is Flow East. Okay, so we're not going to use the Dynamo DB table today. But if you want to use it, you can, but you have to manually create it first. So then we go into the EC2. We're using EC2 T2 large. Make sure you have your key downloaded already. If you have a key that you're using on your EC2 on your AWS, make sure you have it because you will need it as one of the variables. This is the resource for EC2. We have is gonna is using a user data uh, called the script.sh. So in the script.sh, that's where we have all the applications that we need, that we'll be needing in our Jenkins. So you have the normal policy, the roles, and the assumption, assuming the role, the policy, the instance profile. Then the output is going to give us the AWS public IP address, which we can use on our browser to get to our Jenkins server. So the provider is going to be US East 1. If you don't change this to your region, you might have issues. And this is the script. So this script we will be installing OpenJDK Java because it's needed. It's needed for your Jenkins, for your Docker. Um, Install the Jenkins. You can get, and this is for you Ubuntu. So you need to make sure you have the right installation, Jenkins installation process for the operating system you're using. So, but this is Ubuntu. Then we'll install the Docker engine, uh, then install SonarQube using a Docker image, uh, latest LTS community with the port number. We'll also install the AWS CLI, the kubectl, the EKSCTL, the Terraform, Trivy, Helm, Nginx, because we'll be using Nginx as a reverse proxy. The install SAT for our for security, HTTPS. for certificates authority signings and stuff like that. Then the K9s, then we have the way of getting the initial admin password for Jenkins. So these are all the variables. I decided to make it this way so that it's going to prompt us and ask us for those names, those AMIs and stuff like that. Then the VPC. For the EC2 for the Jenkins server. Yeah, so let's start. Make sure you're in the right folder. Let's cd into Terraform Jenkins server. Okay, alrighty. So the first thing we want to so the next thing for us to do now is Terraform init to initialize the backend, the S3 bucket, and download the required plugins from the providers. So this is successful. The next thing is Terraform validate to make sure our configuration is valid. It's successful. So the next thing we'll go to the plan. I will be using the variables.tf vas file for my variables, which you can see here. So I'll just go ahead and let's see the plan before we do apply. So the plan is just gonna structure out what we want to provision. So we'll be able to see it, and if it's okay, then we go ahead and do apply. Okay, all right. So we'll do Terraform apply. Yes. You sit back and let Terraform do the magic. I hope everything goes well. But if there is, you check it out and look for a way to troubleshoot and solve any errors that you've made in your files. Okay, so everything looks good. Everything is done. And what's the output? The output is this. Let's put this on our browser and see if we're good. Oh, maybe it's still Jenkins is still trying to. Well, let's check our AWS EC2 instance is running. Let's refresh it. It's here, the Jenkins. We can copy the address here. Paste it. So it's working now. So Jenkins is gradually starting. It's still initializing. And there you are. This is the Jenkins server. But we need to get the first, the administrative, the initial admin password. So we'll have to do SSH. I use git bash. The first thing you want to cd into the directory where you downloaded the key. So cd into downloads. If I do ls, where's my key? This is my key, keyeast.pem. So from here, I will SSH. But before I do that, I want to copy this one first. I copy the show mode to ensure the key is not publicly viewable. That is done. Then the next thing is copy this, paste it here. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? Yes, of course. And now we are in a Ubuntu server, Jenkins server. So from here, Jenkins said we should go in here and get our initial password. So I copy this. Here I do sudo cat, then paste what I copied, enter. So this is my initial password. I copy it, paste it here, continue. And that's it. So the first thing, you want to install all the suggested plugins. So it asks you for username. I'm going to be using Mr. Olu. Then my password, confirm, your details here, and your email, save and continue. Okay. Save and finish. And that's it. Start using Jenkins. So this is a brand new Jenkins, but it's more like a plain vanilla. So we need to add some tools. The tools we'll be using for our CI/CD pipeline. So from dashboard to manage Jenkins, look out for the plugins. So we'll look at the available plugins. So today we have a list of plugins that we want to download. All the Docker plugins, AWS credentials, pipeline AWS steps, SonarQube scanner, OWASP dependency check, Eclipse Tamarind, installer, Node.js, email extension plugin, Prometheus metrics plugin. So you might want to read the documentation for each of these to know what they do. Um, but we'll just go ahead and do the plugins installation. So I'll just put this by the side. Type in here Docker. So it brings out most of all the Docker plugins. So I'll go with the first one, the Docker Commons, the Docker Pipeline, Docker API, Docker Build Step, and that's it for Docker. We have 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the next thing you want to type in is AWS credentials. Is here. The next thing you want to type in is pipeline. Pipeline. There's so many pipelines. So let's pipeline AWS. Or we'll just say pipeline dash AWS steps. Okay, this is it. Pipeline. Then we want to check SonarQube. SonarQube. The scanner. Then OWASP. OWASP. Dependency check. Eclipse. What else? Node.js. Node. Email extension if you need it. And Prometheus if you want it. These are by choice. So I'm going to click on the install. So it's going to download each and every one of them. Okay, so this Prometheus is asking us to restart.